Hello, I'm Dr. Regan Early and I'm a Senior Lecturer in Conservation Biology at the University of Exeter's Penryn campus. I'm here to tell you about our undergraduate degree programmes and help you make the decision about which university and degree programme is best for you. As you can see, I'm standing on a beach and this is Pendennis Point in Falmouth, just a couple of miles away from our campus. What's unique about the Penryn campus is that our degrees focus on whole organism biology. So our staff and students study everything that an organism does, from how organisms behave, how they interact with each other, how their populations change over time, how best to conserve and protect those populations. And we do that both on the land and in the sea. A lot of our focus is on animals, but we study plants, fungi, even microbes and diseases. And we also study human science, so we explore the connection between biology, human behaviour and our environment. We study organisms both small and large. For example, little critters like the green shore crab in my hand. This is fascinating because some of our scientists study its camouflage and how that changes with climate change, and so how easy it is for predators to eat it. This is also invasive in many parts of the world, causing huge problems to biodiversity and fisheries. And what's something that's fascinating about the crab in my hand is that it's been parasitized by a barnacle, so it's actually been turned into a baby barnacle making machine. We also study much bigger animals like primates and whales. And now I'll hand over to Kelly Moyes to tell you a bit more about our degree programmes, and you can find the entry requirements on the link that's appearing in the screen now.
Hi, I'm Kelly Moyes and I'm Director of Undergraduate Studies and Programme Director for some of our programmes. The programmes we offer here are zoology, conservation biology and ecology, animal behaviour, evolutionary biology, marine biology and human sciences. So as Regan has said, the theme throughout them all is that we focus on whole organism biology, as that's what we research. It's worth remembering that programmes with the same name at different institutions aren't the same, don't teach the same thing necessarily, because what we teach is informed by research. So what I recommend is that if you're choosing between universities that of course of the same name, you take a look at the research profiles of academics at the different universities. If you find the research interesting, you'll also enjoy the teaching. So in terms of how we teach you throughout the first year, we have core modules that most of you will take, and then we specialise through the second and third years a little more. So zoology is our broadest programme and offers you most choice, but there are a mix of compulsory and optional modules for all of our programmes. Our teaching is a mix of lectures, discussions and practical sessions, and as we move through the programmes we have an increased focus on independent learning. The assessments also change throughout the programme, so in the first year, as we have students from a range of different backgrounds, we focus on getting all students to the same level and having the same knowledge base, and we assess mainly through multiple choice questions and some short written assessments to practice writing skills. Then through the second and third years we have more coursework which takes on a variety of forms, including essays, and we have some essay exams as well, scientific reports, presentations, videos, press releases, a whole host of different assessment methods. So this larger array of assessment methods are important as it allows students to excel at different things, but also allows students to practice these real-world skills. Okay, thanks very much.
Thank you, Kelly. You can do each of our degree programmes as a 3-year course, or you can combine them with an extra year. And while it can be sometimes possible to transfer onto that 4-year course after you've started your degree, it's much better to apply for those programmes on your UCAS form. If you're worried about getting the grades for those degrees, then we recommend applying for both the 3-year and the 4-year variant on your UCAS form. There are 3 options. The first is to study abroad between a year between your second and third year, and I'm going to hand over to Chris Lang, who will tell you about that.
I'm Dr. Chris Lang and I'm the Programme Coordinator for the Study Abroad degree, and this gives our students an opportunity to spend a year studying at one of our partner host institutions all around the world, North America, China, Australia, and in Europe there's an extensive list of partnerships that we have where our students can go and study a really wide range of topics for a year and get to experience that new environment, those different cultures and that new educational setting. We find that our students come back energised, without exception, everybody loves the experience. So if you are thinking about whether you should do a study abroad year, I would strongly urge you to consider it.
Thank you, Chris. The second 4-year option is to do a professional placement between your 3rd and 4th year. Students choose placements in a huge range of fields and in many parts of the world. And here are just some of the destinations that you can see students have gone to. As you can see, they include a lot of jobs doing conservation or working with wildlife in the field, but also some jobs outside biosciences, like at the Office for National Statistics or in education. During that year, you'll pay reduced fees, and here's a video of one of our students, Sam Morris, who did his placement at Penryn Zoo, and Sam is now doing a PhD in Liverpool.
My name's Sam and I'm currently studying a BSc in Zoology with professional placement at the University of Exeter at their Cornwall campus. Since I was about 3 years old, I've wanted to be a zookeeper. Everything I've done has been working towards that, but as I did the first 2 years of my degree, I realised I quite enjoyed the research aspect of it as well. And then it was actually a past student who pointed this placement out to me, and I looked it up online and realised it was perfect. My role here at Penryn Zoo is within the research department, so my focus this year has been looking into the effect of artificial UVB light on primate behaviour. So either I'll be writing, reading, analysing my data or collecting data. I have total control over my project. I decide when I do data collection, I decide in what manner I do data collection, and how I write it up and how I analyse it.
My name's Kelly Moyes. I'm a senior lecturer and I'm the programme director for Biosciences and Geography at the Cornwall campus. So I taught Sam over the 1st and 2nd year in different modules, and also obviously helping him think about his placement. And it's been great as we've been chatting throughout the year about how he's been getting on. It has been as good as he expected, and I think possibly better than he expected, which has been really lovely to see.
There's been a whole host of amazing experiences that I've had here. Some of the days where I'm just writing within my office, I'll be sat there typing, and then all of a sudden you can hear lions roaring. With our giraffe, I've been lucky enough to be able to feed them, and when you go in, they actually lean over as soon as they see a new person. They're really inquisitive. So you take one step in and you've got about 8 giraffe heads right in your face immediately, which is quite an incredible experience to have. My main piece of advice would be, even if you're slightly interested in doing something, just apply for it. Even if they've got a whole host of criteria that you think you don't hit, still apply for it, because nobody hits all the criteria and you'll never know if you're what they were looking for if you don't apply. Once you do get through to the interview stage, read up about the company you're interviewing with and mainly go beyond their homepage on their website.
When students have been on a professional placement, they tend to gain a lot of confidence. So it's partly the confidence building, but also everything that they've done in their 1st and 2nd year starts to make more sense because it's all being applied. So they understand what the point of it is, which makes the final year a lot more relevant.
It has been the best year that I could have possibly had. The change in my confidence levels in terms of the academic side of things between the end of 2nd year and what will be the start of my final year has just been extraordinary.
The third option is to do an MSci degree, which is where you will spend a year doing research with us after you finish your 3rd year. I'm going to hand over to Ben Raymond to tell you more about that.
Hi there, I'm Ben Raymond. I'm the course convener for our 4-year MSci programmes at the Penryn campus, covering all the biology and also the geography environmental science courses. At Penryn, our MSci programmes are really generic research, skills-focused courses that incorporate training in statistics, in how to review the scientific literature, and also involve our Global Challenges field course in Singapore, which looks at human-wildlife conflict. So, advantage of doing the MSci programme, in contrast to other master's degrees you might do, are for a start, you get to choose a project and choose a supervisor among a group of staff that you know quite well. And, you can get a good research project experience, and the research project makes up a large a part of your 4-year degree. Secondly, you can get a master's level qualification for the cost of an extra year of your undergraduate degree. So that's a little less expensive than a standard master's degree. There's also some flexibility in when and how you do your project. If you have the time available, you can start your projects in the summer, either in the lab or the field, and that means you can have a long extended project lasting more or less 9 months, or alternatively, if that's not available to you, you can do your project in the autumn and the winter. So that choice gives you flexibility in how you do your field or laboratory studies. And I'm available to take any questions if you need more information. Okay.
So now that you know about our degree programs, what is it actually like to study here? I'm mostly going to talk about your university experience from an academic point of view, but to know more about what our students think about living and studying here, be sure to check out the video by our student ambassador. Firstly, studying at Exeter's Penryn campus is an academic choice. Our teaching and research are closely aligned, so you'll be taught by experts in your field. In fact, our department was recently classed as the best life and environmental science research department in Europe by the Leiding rankings. We're classed as 7th best department in the world for ecology by the Shanghai academic rankings, and we also hold a UK Gold Award in the National Research Evaluation Framework. And because our teaching is research-led, you'll be taught things that are both exciting and challenging. You'll experience how scientific knowledge is generated and how it's put into practice. And there will be plenty of opportunities to interact with staff. It's very important to the ethos of our department that we spend time getting to know our students and inviting them into our research groups. And in fact, some of my most interesting research ideas have been sparked by seminars with my undergraduate students. And at the same time, those undergraduates got to see how hypotheses were generated and tested. Students also get a dedicated tutor to meet several times a term throughout their academic degree. We'll discuss your academic progress, how any improvements could be made, your career development, and the choices that you have to make about what to study at each stage of your degree. Lecturers have an open door policy, so you can come and knock on our door at any time, but we also have dedicated office hours, which are a really good time for you to come and ask us questions. We also have a range of professional student support teams on campus, and these are experts in mental health and experienced staff members who deal with all sorts of issues such as academic concerns, mental health support, issues like living arrangements, personal relationships, general worries and emotional concerns. They will support you if you have specific learning needs, and they will see where reasonable adjustments could be made to accommodate individual circumstances. We also place a really big emphasis on hands-on experience, be that in the lab or here in the field. And throughout your degree, almost every module will include some practical work either in the laboratory or the field. In your second year, you'll spend a week on a residential field course in the UK or in Europe. And in your final year, you'll spend 11 to 13 days on a field course that may go further afield. Each of these field courses offers the opportunity to learn from specialists in the field course location, to undertake a research project to study the unique ecology of that region, and to learn about how conservation works in different parts of the world. You'll study organisms that are very different from those that we would normally get to experience in the UK. Let's see a little bit more about those field course options now.
For my third year field course, I went to the Galapagos Islands, and it was the best 2 weeks of my life. The Galapagos Islands are famous for having lots of endemic species, and I was lucky enough to free dive with hammerhead sharks as well as hundreds of eagle rays. But what was really special was seeing how the local people interact with their environment and the wildlife, and it was a really eye-opening experience.
So in January I went to Borneo on my field trip. It was an absolutely amazing experience. Spent the first week in Tarakan in Setalang, meeting all the people, experiencing their way of life, which is so different to our own. It was amazing in and of itself. And then got to spend a week in the rainforest, seeing the incredible biodiversity there and all the species there which you can't see anywhere else on the planet. It really was the absolute best 2 weeks of my life.
So the Tanni Forest was absolutely beautiful. I remember first going in, hiking up the river and seeing these huge trees on either side, and it was stunning. My favourite experience was probably seeing all the amazing creatures around camp, such as Bornean horned frogs, millipedes, huge tarantulas. It was incredible.
So I'm Sophie, I'm a MSci marine biology student in my 4th year, and I was lucky enough to go to Hong Kong in October as part of our field trip. So my favourite part about the field course was probably meeting the inspirational people who are targeting some of the biggest issues Hong Kong and the world are facing, such as over-exploitation, the wildlife markets, the ivory trade and climate change. So we were working with Hong Kong University. This was really inspiring because they were doing work from plastic pollution all the way to looking at pangolins and their endangerment. So this was really inspiring to do pursue future research.
I would really recommend that you take this opportunity to go to Costa Rica. It's one of the best field courses for showing you such a diverse amount of wildlife. You get to learn so much, you get to become integrated within that year group, and you come away with your eyes open to the diversity of wildlife out there, and it's just a completely life-changing experience. And I can honestly say that Costa Rica lived up to these expectations, and it was just so memorable.
For my 3rd year field course, I went to Yukon in Canada and Alaska, so Sitka in Alaska. We travelled out there, a group of students, there's probably about 30-40 of us. So a highlight for me, something to tick off the bucket list, we travelled to Haines Junction and watched bears when they were salmon fishing. So we got to see 4 adults and 5 cubs, which was absolutely insane, something I've always wanted to see, so I definitely want to go back and have a go again. So while we were out in Sitka in Alaska, we got the chance to go on a boat trip. We saw so much on the boat trip. We saw more bears, we saw probably over 40 humpbacks. We saw them tail breaching, we saw them fully breaching out of the water, and it was really cool, so we got to learn how to identify the humpbacks via the markings on their tails.
So we go to the Western Ghats in southern India, and it's one of the most biodiverse places on the planet. And we're looking at the wildlife there, looking at their ecology and their evolution, but also kind of putting it into context with the human issues and the development and the conservation story too. I think the field course is a really powerful learning experience. It's a really case of doing and seeing it for yourself, which just adds volume to your learning. The highlight of the field trip for me was when we set up camera traps. This was at our camp, so just a case of seeing what we could get. And we actually got leopards turning up, which was incredible footage. And that happened just 20 minutes after we'd walked away from setting them up around the tree, and it was brilliant.
Now, the capstone of your undergraduate degree will be the research project you want to take in your final year. And this is where you'll work with one of us to develop a novel and rigorous scientific piece of scientific research. And it really is a very independent way of learning and thinking. It brings together all of the skills that you will have learned throughout your degree. And at the end of the project, you'll be able to have seen your own development as an independent scientist and have a piece of work that you're really proud of. So overall, our teaching ethos is hands-on, research-led, inclusive, and aims to help all of our students develop their own aspirations. Here's what our head of department has to say.
My name is Professor Dave Hodgson. I'm Professor of Ecology in the Centre for Ecology and Conservation, part of the Biosciences Department on the Penryn campus of the University of Exeter. This is a university, so we are not teachers. We are lecturers and professors and scholars and researchers, and we engage in something that I like to think of as shared learning. Our researchers generate new knowledge about the natural world, and they share that with our students. Our students, in turn, generate new knowledge about the natural world, and they share that back with our lecturers, and so the cycle continues. This approach to education has gained a gold ranking in the National Teaching Excellence Framework, which measures student satisfaction with our degrees, the quality of our education, but also measures the career prospects of the students who graduate with degrees from the University of Exeter. We also know that students love studying with us. 91% of our recent graduates were satisfied with the quality of their education. Students highlight the expertise and the enthusiasm and also the support provided by their lecturing staff. But they also recognise the quality of extracurricular activities in the extraordinary natural environment that is Cornwall. They also recognise the quality of the degree, the badge of quality of the degree that they have gained, but they note that they really appreciate the fieldwork opportunities that they have, either on campus, in the region of Cornwall, or on our residential field trips. I'm delighted that you're watching this video, and I genuinely hope that we can welcome you to our department in the near future.
Of course, COVID-19 pandemic presented us with huge difficulties, and staff and students really missed being able to teach and learn in person. But we rapidly adapted our teaching to move online and to provide the best possible experience for our students. And we vastly prefer teaching face-to-face, but our students tell us that there are actually some elements of online teaching that they really like. Take a look at the video on the Open Day website that talks about some of the things we've done over the past year. Now, I've already talked about the very high international reputation of research in our department, and that means we have an outstanding reputation with employers, and we work very closely with a large range of organisations related to your degree, for example, conservation or ecological agencies in the UK and around the world. Our work often has big impacts on the world, including guiding management of some of the UK's most charismatic wildlife, like badgers and bumblebees. Some of our scientists have been involved in designating marine protected areas, for example for marine turtles on Ascension Islands. Others have modelled the spread of infectious disease in wildlife. Our research has helped to mitigate the effects of climate change, improve the sustainability of fisheries in the UK and in Africa, improve food security for some of the world's poorest people. So if you want a career that will make a positive difference to the world, studying with us would be a good place to start. We also share our science very widely with the public. You'll often hear stories about our research on television, in the news, even in children's books. Students often take the lead on these projects, producing a Life magazine and a podcast on scientific research in the department. We organise events every year to communicate science to thousands of people. So if you're passionate about a science outreach, you'll find plenty of opportunities to do that with us, and you'll even have the chance to take a module that helps you learn about science communication.
Hi, I'm Dr. Lindsay Walker, a postdoctoral researcher in the Human Behaviour and Cultural Evolution Group. I'm also a member of the CLES Cornwall Inclusivity Committee. Our department is committed to fostering a supportive and inclusive environment, and our Inclusivity Committee unites staff and students. We are proud to have held the Athena Swan Silver Award since 2014, recognising our work towards gender equality. The university is seeking to gain the Race Equality Charter Bronze status by October 2021. Our department has set out a plan to step up action against racism and to tackle the barriers faced by many minority ethnic staff and students. We've recently undertaken some activities to raise the profile of inclusivity in the department. For example, as part of Black History Month in October 2020, students and staff profiled Black ecologists to celebrate their achievements and to reflect on the systemic challenges that Black people have faced in academia. This activity now forms part of our undergraduate training in skills and careers. Also, to celebrate LGBT+ History Month, we were pleased to host a talk by our former undergraduate and PhD student, Dr. Ian Stott, who is now a senior lecturer at the University of Lincoln. Ian set out to chart the life history of a gay ecologist. Should you choose to study with us and be a part of our department, it would be great to hear your ideas for expanding our inclusivity activities.
So our international reputation, our impact on the world, training in key skills like outreach, and our commitment to diversity will all enhance your career prospects. On top of that, We embed employability training into every step of your degree in areas like environmental consultancy. We train you in transferable skills for careers outside science, for example, business or teaching. We'll help you find work placements during your degree. We'll help you with job applications, grant writing, communication, and we have a career zone to help you find graduate jobs. In fact, 76% of our undergraduates find employment or further study within 6 months of graduating. Here are just some of the destinations that our students have gone on to, the jobs they've done, or the further study that they've undertaken. And finally, of course, as you can see behind me, Cornwall is an incredible place to live and study. We have a wonderful living environment that we study like a wild laboratory. And students tell us that this is a great place to study not just because of what they expect of a coastal town, like the beaches, the beauty, the sunsets, and the friendliness, but also because of what they don't expect, what's surprising, like the music, the culture, the energy, and the ambition of our towns. Do watch the video from our student ambassador about living here, and check out the rest of our videos from the Biosciences Penryn Stand. And do get in touch with us, either on the open day today or by emailing us, and we hope to see some of you soon.